But
And you guys heard it here from Nick. Take the dog in the co-main. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson live on Netflix tonight. Welcome. It's Friday. We're here with Occupy Fantasy Chuck and Nick to bring you another DraftKings FanDuel strategy special. I mean, last night wasn't too bad. We had a one gamer. We got some late starting lineups, which was super annoying because we had all day to work on stuff that just didn't matter. But I think the night ended up being all right. How'd you do?
yeah, I didn't play heavy. I'm honestly not a huge showdown guy. I did just because I was on the show. A lot of the predictions I made ended up being right, which was good. But yeah, the Lori fade was the key. I said I wasn't going to play any Lori. That worked out. But yeah, I got off a lot of Najee Marshall when he was coming off the bench, and that was a mistake because he absolutely crushed.
Those were my biggest takes. I bumped Quentin Grimes up so hard, and I still bumped up Najee, but they all had Laurie Markkinen, so it didn't matter.
Damn, yeah.
Uh, yeah, I don't know, not too much to dive into. We have a lot to get to today. So it's day two of the NBA Cup for the 24-25 NBA season. I made a mistake the first time on Tuesday. I said that it doesn't affect anything. It actually does because the point differential matters. It'll come into play more over the next few weeks. I think this lasts for 4 weeks, so we'll get 8 cup games. I think it's going to matter more towards the end because you'll see teams like the Celtics be up by 40 and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown will be in with 6 minutes left in the game because the point differential will matter for the standings. I know that Charlotte kind of let their players stat pad to try to close that gap a little bit. Do you remember any of the other teams keeping their starters in longer?
I mean, this year not necessarily, but I was watching the other day when you were on with Smitty, I think, and you brought that up, and I was like, oh, duh, like this is definitely a thing. Like the point
Yeah.
differential is going to matter, so it's a good thing for DFS. I mean, we could worry less about blowouts. Not that there's a ton
Mm-hmm.
really projected on this slate tonight, but whether a team's winning or losing, that point differential does matter for these cup games, and yeah, especially these young teams, they want to get a few extra bucks in their players' pockets. I think they're going to do what they can to kind of keep things close, but yeah, pretty fun slate overall. It's just for so many games, I was kind of hoping we'd have more value.
Yeah, and it's like the value's a little bit concentrated today. I'll take a look in a moment. What's up, Heath? Dr. Don, Mr. Don, sorry. Getting the three Nuggets players on DraftKings. Yeah, I think that's the starting point for the slate with Nikola Jokic ruled out. He's having a baby. Congratulations.
Yep.
Uh Massive ownership coming to these guys. Peyton Watson 50%, Jamal Murray 50%, Russell Westbrook 30% on DraftKings, and then Christian Brown, MPJ still pulling ownership, and that's not even including any of these centers that we have to figure out what to do with. So, I mean, Denver, what's the starting point here?
I mean, the other thing we got to keep in mind is that Gordon's out as well. So, in addition to
Mhm.
Jokic, like two of their top usage players are out. So, Murray looks great. He's just a little bit too cheap for what he's been doing. Peyton Watson, the FanDuel price gives you some pause at 5,700 on DK. He's certainly a core play over there, though. Christian Brown, Russell Westbrook both look excellent, and Michael Porter going kind of overlooked. I wouldn't be shocked if he ended up the highest scoring player on this Denver team tonight. Obviously, kind of scoring dependent, wider range of outcomes, but that's definitely reflected in the ownership. Only 15% on DK, only 2% on FanDuel. A tournament play I definitely want to get to, but I'm happy with all the starters and Westbrook. Honestly, regardless of who's in its center, I don't even know that I want to go there. Um, I mean, the Pels have been giving Missy more minutes, but they're kind of small right now. So yeah, it's tough for me to trust anything. I guess if Najee starts, I'm probably going to get to him. Saric would have power forward eligibility, so on FanDuel I'd have some interest, but I don't know. It's tough to really want to use a center spot for any of those guys against a pretty small Pelicans team.
Yeah, because to me the problem is, I mean, we can swap to any of them, whoever ends up starting, but this
Yeah,
is the last game. There are two other games starting at the same time, but there's not min price swaps in those games, and so I mean, last time this happened, we saw DeAndre Jordan put up like 40 fantasy points or something stupid, but Dario Saric wasn't on the team. I kind of am with you. I lean towards it's Seek Najee. But I mean,
Mhm.
each of these three could just play 16 minutes unless one of them's playing well. We're going to give a little bit more favorability to whoever starts. And it looks like the model thinks it is Najee, even though he's only projected for 16 minutes. But I'm not making any decisions here. I'm just not playing any of them. And I'm just hoping we get that news in time to maybe do something about it. But even if I miss out on getting to one of these guys, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, especially because we're loading up on other Denver pieces. Like I have four Nuggets in most of my FanDuel stuff. You can only play four on DK. I don't know that I even want five. It's a pretty big slate even without the late game. So I'm comfortable getting away from those value centers. I will say whoever starts is going to be appealing. If you have the maneuverability going into those late games, it does make some sense. But right now, I'd rather just play the guys we know are going to be in there. We know are going to be seeing usage in minutes.
So I'm fading Jamal Murray tonight. I'm at 30%, so I'm not full fading. I'm under the field though. I don't think he gets the boost that the field thinks he does. And I know the models recognizing it, other projection models are recognizing it too. But to me, this is a spot that we can just, and again, like Nick said, he's probably $1,000 too cheap in this role, but I don't like this ownership. I think we have so many other good options in this price range that I want to be under the field.
Yeah, I mean, I think in cash game, small field, he still makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. I mean,
Yeah.
this matchup with the Pelicans is a lot softer than it usually is with no Zion, no Herb Jones. Murray and CJ actually play pretty good defense in the backcourt as well. So there are reasons to like Murray, but it's been a while since we've seen him spike that ceiling. I mean, we're projecting him for 36 minutes. He should get there. But again, I mean, there's so many pivots in that price range. On a slate where we're lacking value, it's tougher to get away from the 4 to 5K plays like Watson, Westbrook, and Brown. So I'm with it, man. I like Murray. I'm not going to talk anyone off playing him, but I'm definitely comfortable pivoting. There's a ton to like in that range.
Yeah, and so the thing is, I dove into the on-off numbers, and it's a very small sample this year with Jokic off the court. He's played every game, and he plays big minutes, right? But Russell Westbrook, in that small sample, very, very clearly gets the biggest boost with Jokic off the court, and that's with Jamal on the court too. Like Jamal and Russell Westbrook on the court together, Russ still gets the biggest boost, and even going back to last year, Jamal really doesn't get that big of a boost with Jokic out. And so it's a spot I think we can take advantage. Now I'm over the field on MPJ. I'm over on Braun, Watson. I actually not on DraftKings, maybe not the 50%, but I like Watson. And Julian Strother is actually my highest exposed player overall on DraftKings right now.
Yeah, I don't know if I like Strother as much as you do, but I mean, at the price, he makes a lot of sense. He's been hitting value consistently. The minutes are going to be there for him. So, yeah, good way to get different, and definitely on a slate where there should be more value for so many games. Strother makes a lot of sense here. So I'm with it, man. You're opening my eyes to him a little bit. I think I'll probably get to a little bit more now.
Yeah, and that just comes from taking like 2 minutes away from Jamal and giving him to Strother. So that's how significant. Like I talk about giving a guy 2-3 minutes, like that's very significant. I'm probably not going to end up with Strother as my highest exposed. We're going to get news, but at least I'll have that roster spot open, and I have enough exposure to the late games to make that swap.
Mhm.
Rui downgraded to doubtful. Yeah, I was actually kind of excited to play Rui at really low ownership, but I mean, now let's talk about the Lakers, I guess, real quick. With Rui out, does this change anything for you?
I mean, it should. He's been playing a ton of minutes. I mean, Reeves has been pretty good, but he's priced way up. Russell's been terrible. Not going to get to him. He's pretty much the same price as Russ, too. So, really, really difficult there. I saw someone bring up whole Connect 4. Maybe he's a guy you could kind of mix in his value. I would say I trust Strother more if we're comparing just those two. But more than anything, I think you could feel a little bit better about getting to some AD and LeBron. They're both sub 10% owned. Again, Reeves don't love the price, especially on FanDuel where he's pushing 8K now. But if he stays like 1 to 2% owned, I'd mix him in. But yeah, Connect. I mean, he did start one of those games where he was out. I think if that happens again, I imagine the ownership skyrockets. But I think either way, if you're in large field tonight, I'd rather mix him in than maybe like a Cam Reddish or one of these other secondary guys. But I mean, you're the Lakers fan, man. Where are you at on this team?
I love it. So the model's still adjusting for Rui being out, but it's already projecting Connect for 27 minutes. That puts him as one of the top DK values of the day. If he ends up starting, I got to think that the model thinks he's starting, giving him 27 minutes, but we'll see what happens there. If he starts 3,900, there's a lot of good value plays, but he's showing up as the best one under 4K now. Again, let's see what the model updates do in a few minutes.
Yeah, I think they're trying to bring Russell off the bench now, right? So it'll probably be Reddish with Connect, or that's wishful thinking maybe. Um, but yeah, I mean, I like him for value for sure.
Would you miss Jose? Nothing. Just point differential matters in NBA Cup. Maybe starters get a couple more minutes. Not too much. You have Porter, Murray, and Porter.
Wait, I'm confused. Porter,
I got
Murray.
Porter, Murray, and Strother, Russell. Either way, I don't mind any combination of three
I'm like,
three
is there
Nuggets
another
today.
Porter?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
any they're fine. Jokic is gone. Usage to go around, and they're all underpriced.
yeah.
Cat and Deuce are warming up, waiting to be cleared. I was kind of hoping Cat was going to sit so that we could just play everyone else on the Knicks. But with Cat in, what are we looking at from the Knicks? Cat's like showing up really good on the OF index. I still don't think his price is high enough. His ownership is pretty modest today.
Yeah, it would be Cat first and foremost. I mean, he's been tremendous, seeing much higher usage than Brunson has, and he's taking on my Nets. And Claxton's out tonight, so this matchup becomes a little bit better in terms of front court upside. Towns has been excellent. Price is up, but I'm still fine getting to him again. I don't know, not a ton of value on this slate, so I'm finding myself getting to a lot of these 8 to 9K type plays. He makes a lot of sense here. Other than that, I mean, I don't know, revenge for Mikal Bridges, who kind of begged his way away from the Nets. Probably not. You could always play Josh Hart, pretty high floor, but I don't know. The only play I'd be excited to really get to is Cat.
Yeah, the only guys I'm getting to are Josh Hart and Cat, and then I have like 1 or 2% of Jalen Brunson. So
With it.
um, let's see. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat. We're not going to be able to get to everything on the show. We're going to try, but if there's something you want to hear about, let us know. So, Nick, what's the point after the Denver that you want to talk about?
Probably Miami, right? No Jimmy Butler.
Let's
I
take a
think
look.
that's big. I think Boyle threw Rozier on the cover today, but Tyler Hero, one of my favorite plays on the slate. And for those of you who are in a legal sportsbook slate, I've been giving everyone this play today. There's like this boost. It's you got to pick a player to score over 30 points. Hero was like plus 220 to score over 30. You could boost that. I think he's very likely to get there against this Pacers defense. It's been kind of spotty. Coming off a really good game where it did go to OT, but he had 70 DK points. You don't need to project that here tonight to want to get to him where he's priced again with Butler out. Only 12% owned on DK though, 16 on FanDuel. Kind of shocked by this ownership. I thought he'd be more popular.
Yeah, love Harrow again today, and I actually kind of love this whole game. Halliburton, is he kind of coming back? Because that's actually the other biggest like spot that I had on the slate after Denver centers. But we'll look at Indiana in a second. I don't know. Is this total kind of low? I'm thinking maybe Indiana can get back to the pace that they were playing last year, where their totals were like 270 against Atlanta.
Yeah, I actually think things speed up for Miami a bit with Butler off the floor, and Halliburton does seem to be finding his legs a little bit, taking more threes again. Didn't look good against Orlando, but really, really good game against the Knicks. I'm fine getting there. Mathurin, though, is kind of the core play for me here. He's just been
Yes.
excellent. I mean, still sub 7K. I think he should be 7K on both sides, if we're being honest. Until then, I mean, I'm just going to keep loading up on him. Scoring dependent, usually not the type of play I'm super heavy on, but the shots have just been there for him. The usage is as high as anyone on this team, and he fills a nice spot. You get guard and forward eligibility, I think, on both sides. So he's just so easy to build around. Mathurin, for me, definitely a key in a lot of my builds today.
So before we move on to Indiana, I just want to mention Kevin Love probably starts tonight. We haven't projected for 12 minutes. I've just been crossing him out of my player pool. After that first day, I was excited to play him when he was starting, but he's not coming back in for a second rotation in any half. So he plays 7 minutes, subs out, starts the second half, plays 6, 7 minutes, and that's it. So yeah, he can get 20 plus, but on today's slate, he's 0% projected owned, so he's not projected for any ownership, but I think it's easier just to cross him out to make sure. Um,
Yeah,
but with but with Indiana, yeah, I love Mathurin. I think he's $1,000 too cheap, probably on both sites. His ownership is too low. But Halliburton's the spot I'm having trouble with. I mean, his price is really good. His ownership, I'm actually surprised it's this low. I was expecting it to come in higher. So, are you over the field on Halliburton?
I mean, I might match the fields. Again, I mean, I am getting to Murray and Russ very aggressively. I already told you I'm playing some hero who fills some of those guard spots. There's a lot of good guards on this slate, first and foremost. But yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it again because he's 8K. We don't have Cade at super cheap anymore. He was someone I was looking to. His price finally moved. He's now over 9K. But most days I'm choosing between Cade and Halliburton in that 8K range. Don't get to make that choice anymore. So definitely fine getting some Halliburton. Not something I'm like super aggressive in getting over the field on, especially because he's been so inconsistent. But at the same time, I mean, if the ownership stays down, I mean, I'm happy to get there at 8K for sure.
And then I'll mention I have very little Miles Turner, and I'm slightly over the field on Pascal Siakam on both sides. I think he's a pretty good price today, even in a perceived tough matchup against Miami. Remember, Nick mentioned they're playing faster. They don't have Jimmy Butler. It kind of changes the matchup a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I like both centers in this game. I mean, I'm fine getting to Turner where he's priced. I do prefer Bam, but Bam is very popular. I think you could go either way there. Both those guys are going to see heavy usage.
Just got a couple pieces of news, I guess. Yeah, Cat's still a game time decision. Devin Vassell off the bench. Evan Mobley still questionable. He's questionable with an illness. Lean towards him out. If he's out, then we're going to like Jared Allen more, obviously. Already like Donovan Mitchell as a pretty strong play from the Cavs.
I mean, the one piece of news that I'm waiting on, and maybe I'm alone on this, is Jaden Ivey. If he's out, I want to get all the Malik Beasley again. I was super over the field on him the other day when Ivy was out. It really carried my night. I'm happy to go back there. He's just been so aggressive, taking tons of shots. Cade's getting open looks for him. This team's just been playing better, and I think Beasley's a big reason for that. No Hardaway Jr., no Fontecchio. We already know that. So you could probably already get to some Beasley. Let me check his ownership. Yeah, pretty low. I mean, DK, 5K plus, tough to want to get there on FanDuel, though, at 4,900. He's in my main builds right now, and I'm probably going to stick to him even if Ivy's in, but I'm hoping Ivy's out.
I'm hoping Ivy's in because I took all of Malik Beasley's under bets today.
Ooh,
So I thought I saw an edge there, and Ivy's still a game time decision. I just checked, so we'll see how that turns out here.
that could go either way. Yeah.
You mentioned Cade. He's priced up. I still don't think this is enough, though. I mean, this guy's putting up almost 50 triple double threat every night. His ownership is modest. We have some other good plays on the slate. I don't know. I'll be over the field on Cade, not by much. It's hard to get over this 13% on today's slate. And then Tobias, I have very little interest in Tobias today.
Well, I usually don't like playing Tobias, but he's played 40 minutes in back-to-back games. I know one of those went to OT. The shots are there, and he fills a power forward spot that's kind of tough to find much in tonight unless you're going to Watson, who I do really like. But I'm mixing in some Harris, I will say. Like, the ceiling hasn't been there, but as a last piece in, I do trust his floor a lot more this season than I did last year with the 76ers. Great matchup, too, against the Raptors. So I wouldn't fault you for not playing him much at 6,200, but it is a piece I do find myself getting to.
I actually thought I had more. I have 2% on DraftKings and I have 0 on FanDuel in 150 lineups. So I'm not saying it's a 0%er. I definitely just don't want this 21%.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Let's catch up. Courtney, yeah, let's score 500 tonight, dude. I mean, we're going to see insane scores. Just hit the perfect lineup to win. You like Champagne better than Strother? Let's take a look at the Spurs. Pretty interested in the Wemby. I don't think I was looking at much else from this team. Champagne's not a bad price. He's the pivot, the low-owned pivot off of some of these other more obvious value plays.
Yeah, I mean, we do have to keep in mind Vassell's back now, coming off the bench. He's going to continue to see more minutes. Keldon Johnson, another guy who could be playing more minutes than he is. Pop's still in the hospital. I mean, thoughts and prayers. Hope he gets well soon. But I mean, it's a little bit easier to trust these rotations right now. For me, I'm not getting too much Champagne. I mean, he's been fine. Really hasn't shown much of an upside though. If anything, I guess Stephon Castle's a play I'd be mixing in. But other than Wemby, I mean, I don't know. It's not a worse matchup, but they're all kind of priced where they should be. This is a pretty deep rotation. Branham was out too for a couple of those games where we saw good Champagne games. He was back last time out. So, yeah, this rotation, this is a team using more bodies than some others right now, which is enough for me to not really get there all that aggressively.
Yeah, I have 0.5% Champagne on FanDuel. I guess I got 0 on DraftKings. I am way over the field on Wemby on FanDuel, though. Not so much. I'm still over on DraftKings. I have like 12% on DK, but I'm coming in at 30% on FanDuel right now. So I bumped him up pretty hard. I mean, I like Wemby. I don't know if I like him 10x the field that much today, though, but I definitely want to be over. His ceiling is just it's unmatched on today's slate.
Yeah, I mean, today's slate's interesting. Like, you sort by OF index, and like all the pay ups really aren't all that high owned. Like Bam is kind of chalky, but you're all the way down into the 8K range when you get to him. So if you could get to any of these guys over the field, I do like it. Wemby definitely one of them. I mean, AD and him, not the best matchup in the world, but he's been tremendous, and I think he's going to continue to produce at a super high level. Whenever he's low owned, he's the type of guy you should be mixing in for sure.
You want to pay up at center? Who's the best pay up center? Best pay up center? His name's Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, if you can get to Wemby, yes. I mean, if Cat's in, I love the spot with no Claxton. And then I guess we have to call Jalen Williams a center now on DK because that's his only position. But he looks really good here at 8,300 as well. Still no Chet. Sun's pretty banged up. I mean, we could talk about them next if you want. But I like Jalen, and I don't like that he's a center. But if that's going to keep his ownership reasonable, I'm happy to get to him where he's priced.
Yeah, because we actually do have other pay up centers. It's not just Wemby. That was kind of a little bit of a joke. Sorry, but Anthony Davis is way up in the model at a cheaper price. Like we said, if Cat plays, Cat still looks great. Jalen Williams is the best 8K play of the day at any position according to the model. Very close to the top of value. Good OF index, and his 8K price is sandwiched in between an 11K Wemby and a 9K Cade. So really good plays to pay up for today, and that's not even including Bam. And then I saw Colin with a question. SGA night? Yeah, love SGA tonight. I'm way over the field. Who's your top 3 spend ups overall?
Let's see. I mean, like I said, I do find myself kind of in this 8K 9 range a lot tonight. Um, I mean, if you consider Cat a spend up, he's one for me for sure. Um, Jalen Williams, I don't know if you consider him. And then it is actually SGA against Phoenix. I really like this game. And the Booker price to me, like he's not one of my top owned, but he is someone I want to get to with Beal and KD off the floor, especially on FanDuel where he's sub 9K. Like I'm just not really sure why he's not a little bit more popular. I know the OKC defense is great, but again, this is the playing tournament. I mean, even if the game's not that close, maybe he plays a few extra minutes. So I like Booker here. But as far as top three go, SGA, I don't know, Cat, and then who else did I say? Jalen Williams.
Yeah, on DraftKings, I'm actually not paying up for that much. I'm running, I mean, I get a lot of Strother and Grayson Allen. We'll talk about
Yeah.
Grayson Allen in a few minutes, but Jalen Williams is my highest exposed pay up, followed by Trae Young. Let's talk about Trae Young too, then SGA, then Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Halliburton, RJ
Yeah, I mean,
Barrett.
Atlanta looks great here. I think this game is the highest total on the board, 241.5 points against the Wizards. Terrible defensive team. And yeah, I mean, Trey's been solid, continues to put up pretty great numbers. And I don't know, coming off a game where he rested, maybe that's the reason the ownership's down. I don't know personally. Um, but yeah, whenever you get Trey in kind of a shootout type environment like this, he's always somebody you want to get some exposure to. And again, not popular at all on either side, sub 10K on both sides. Makes a lot of sense. Definitely very comfortable getting to some Trey on here.
We got a 242 total, boys. I've been talking about it all season. This is the best fantasy environment when Washington is on the court. Atlanta is top 5 fantasy environment. I mean, I just want to get way over the field on Trae Young, even Jalen Johnson at this pumped up price, and Dyson Daniels, the 6,500 price on DraftKings. I still think it's okay to get a few shares. FanDuel to 7,600 is really tough given the options, but we've seen him get 7 steals like 4 times
Yeah.
this year.
Yep.
So
Yeah. His last three games, I think 19 combined steals, 8+ in all three. On FanDuel, that's 3 points per. So, like, that's a 3 point shot, essentially.
it's
No one
value.
wants to play him at that price, but he's damn good if you're landing on him.
I am. I'm playing him in at that price. Not too much.
Yeah,
One
and I
percent
do
in.
want to just mention this for the Hawks. I mean, I still love all these plays we're talking about, but Hunter's been out for a long time. He is back tonight. Could cut into the minutes for a few of these guys. Probably not enough for me to get away from them, but just something to consider. He is back now and should be in that rotation.
It's a good call. Which Denver center is starting? Yeah, what do you think? I lean towards Najee, but I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it's Najee against Missy, and I don't know that I want to get to him all that aggressively. Um, I don't know if the Pels still had Joval, I could see them going with DeAndre Jordan, but they don't. So I think they stay pretty small here. I think Najee makes the most sense, but not that I'm rushing to get to him.
Power's with you on Malik Beasley, and Power's sharp, so you
Okay,
should listen to that.
let's go.
Projected Zeke Najee, Jose 3,000. Not sure. Trey or Harden. I love Trey Young today, and James Harden is tragic. Clippers are tragic. Uh,
Yeah, I do want to just say this about Harden. He is 4 threes behind Ray Allen for second all time. So
that's a good
maybe he
one.
takes a few extra shots tonight. I mean, he's been kind of getting close to value without shooting all that aggressively. So a few more shots for him could get him over. But I would much rather play Trey if I'm choosing between those two for sure.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna rush to get my 5% James Harden out of my exposures, but the model is telling us that he's below all these other guys. Now, not by much. I mean, look at the difference in OF index rather than just the actual placement, but
Yeah,
I just
and
would
he,
rather get to anyone else here.
yeah,
Isaiah Joe, sneaky. Let's take a closer look at OKC. So we know we like SGA and Jalen Williams. What do you like beyond them?
not much. um, I don't know. It's like Joe Wallace, Dort, Wiggins, night to night. One of these four will hit value. I mean, it's usually Dort, but I don't know. I just don't feel good about any of them. I'm fine getting to Dort again. Guardian forward eligibility, sub 5K on DK. Joe does have upside. Really needs the threes to fall though. Only played 21 minutes, went 0 for 5. Had a terrible game last time out. Maybe he bounces back, but I don't know. Even on a slate without much value, like I'd rather go balanced and try to avoid some of these guys.
Yeah, I'm under 10% on Joe and Dort. And then I got 2% of AJ Mitchell. He's getting some playing time. He's
Hmm.
pretty close to min priced. I don't know we have any other good min price plays. Not that he's a good min price play, but he did see 26 minutes in the blowout and wasn't that big of a blowout, seeing 20 minutes. I don't know. If I end up with 2%, I don't hate it, but keep this in the back of your pocket. Maybe it comes up if someone gets injured. OKC got a whole lot of Nuggets. Yep, we're going to last man in Harden or Trey. My vote is Trey.
Yep, agreed.
Willing to take another flyer on a Kogi if Grayson Allen doesn't play. Yeah. So how much Grayson Allen are you getting?
A little bit right now.
Okay.
But at the same time, like even if he's in, he's been shooting pretty poorly. He's a streaky guy. I mean, I'm kind of hoping he's out so I could play a little bit more Ryan Dunn. I know we got the douche in our Discord, our resident Suns fan. He was kind of saying he didn't know if Monty would let him get run over 20 minutes, but we did see him play 27 minutes against the Kings. Didn't shoot all that well, but he did get pretty close to value. So if you're desperate for kind of a punt, I would almost rather play Dunn than Allen, regardless. But I don't think I get to either if both are in. Like I kind of want Allen out just to get to a little bit of Dunn, but I mean, I don't know. Grayson Allen, we know he has the ceiling in his pocket. It's just been so long since we've seen it out of him. I mean, he's just shooting threes, hanging on the corner right now, like not doing any ball handling, which is kind of weird.
I
I
feel
think the reason for that is that Tyus Jones is on the team now. Last year, if you remember, I mean, Booker was running a lot of point. Allen had a chance to take the ball off the floor more than he is this season. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not crazy about Allen, but he is cheap.
Yeah, I thought his ownership was higher earlier. Maybe it updated, but the model is telling us Grayson Allen. We can definitely fade him today. He's 3,700, and to find him on DK value, you got to scroll down like seven scrolls, which is not great. Grayson Allen. I mean, there's so many better plays. 4,100 Jarace Walker, 3,900 TJD. Like these probably are riskier because Grayson Allen's minutes are slightly more secure than those two guys. But Zaire Williams, Chris Dunn, Haywood Highsmith, Yves Missy, Derek Jones, Ron Holland. There's a lot of 4K plays. So I think Grayson Allen's a fade today at the
I
ownership.
agree. Yeah, I don't really want to play him.
Uh, okay, yeah, let's do this. Top 5 plays on FanDuel overall.
So I'll use this as an opportunity to kind of talk about the late game because we do have those 10 o'clock games over on FanDuel. The Kings have no DeRozan tonight, which makes Kevin Herter, even with the price increase, probably a top 5 play or borderline. Other than that, I think you got to go to Denver. I mean, Murray, Watson. I don't know. I like Murray and Westbrook probably more than 5,700 Watson. Um, Throw Hero in there. And then Jalen Williams, you could play at either forward position, 8,400. I guess that's 5.
Yeah, I'm getting a ton of Kevin Werder. He is the top of FanDuel value, top of DK value too. So keep that in mind for the night slate. No Malik Monk and now no DeMar.
Yeah, Monk
Projected
either. Yeah.
34 minutes. I mean, the price is fine. It's a little higher than we're used to, but I mean, 40% on FanDuel is a lot for Kevin Werder, but I'm doing
Yeah,
it.
it is. Yeah, I mean, he's in my main like single entry right now. I don't know that I can get away from it. But yeah, there's just a lot of extra usage with DeRozan gone. I mean, I haven't been playing much Fox or Sabonis because of DeRozan. I think tonight you could get to them a little bit too on FanDuel. But yeah, not the best matchup against Minnesota.
And even with Grayson Allen and Ryan Dunn showing up at the top of FanDuel value, still very good DraftKings value. I mean, Ryan Dunn was supposed to be known as a defensive specialist, and he shot like 20% from three in college, but now he's like borderline elite in the NBA at shooting threes, which is completely bizarre.
Yeah,
Projected for 26 minutes. So I kind of hope Grayson plays so people don't go to Ryan Dunn because I still think he's a good play.
yeah, I like Dunn, and I mean it changes a lot once you're on a roster like this next to Booker, KD, Beal. Like you're not really drawing defensive attention like you were in college anymore. Obviously, most of these guys are out, but I'm fine getting to some Dunn for sure.
I will just say my top 5 owned players on FanDuel currently. This will change, but I'm at least going to have a bunch of these guys: Davion Mitchell, Jalen Williams, Russell Westbrook, Bam Adebayo, Jalen Johnson. It's kind of surprising. And then it's
Yeah, I like.
SGA Tyler Harrow after that. Then Kevin Werder.
Yeah. I did want to ask you about Davion. If you're super aggressive on him, was quickly out last game. Like, I don't know. I just haven't seen the ceiling out of Mitchell.
Mitchell, well, the minutes are there. He's been a much better fantasy producer than he was when he was on the Kings.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
mean,
without a doubt.
he played 33 minutes, didn't do anything in those 33 minutes, but I don't really care about all this. I care about the 33 minutes, and we have seen him be pretty good. And so for me, he's basically just a FanDuel play. I don't think I'm really getting there on DraftKings. Yeah, I have 8% on DraftKings versus like 40% on FanDuel, 50% on FanDuel.
Yeah, at the
It could
price,
change. Yeah,
I
it could
get it.
change.
Yeah. Honestly, Agbaji, similar price. I don't mind as a pivot.
So I'm getting a ton of exposure to this Toronto team, but not Agbaji. I think that RJ Barrett's price on FanDuel is just wrong at 7,700. He should be above 8K. And then even on DK, I like getting to RJ Barrett. I'm over the field on Grady Dick, over on Yaka Pirtle. Then I'm with the field on Agbaji.
Yeah, I like the Barrett call. He's been shooting terrible from three. I think that's going to correct itself at some point. And as soon as it does, he's going to be underpriced. So I'm with it.
Harden's 3-point prop. He needs 4 to take second place. Can't play him in DFS when he's in Houston. Yeah,
Yeah, he hangs out at the strip clubs too much, and he's going to be hungover. So
if you know, you know. SGA might see Ryan Dunn. I'm off him. So I completely disagree with this. SGA is top 5 in the NBA, and Ryan Dunn is a rookie. He's a very good defensive rookie, but like I'm not fading SGA when anyone's. I was going to say Lou Dort, but it's his teammate. There's no matchup that I'm fading SGA right now, especially when he's underpriced, top of the model with Chet Holmgren out.
yeah, I think historically Herb Jones gave him some trouble, but like you can't really look into that. I mean, teams run screens; they find ways to get these guys open. Thunder, a really good team in transition too. Like teams aren't getting the defensive matchups they want against them, so I wouldn't look that deep into a one-on-one matchup.
Yeah, because I mean, how many possessions is he actually guarding him? And Ryan Dunn's not going to play the whole game. The other
No,
thing
it's playing half the minutes. Yeah.
is SGA has not been. Well, I mean, I guess he had one good game, but he kind of failed in the last game. If he had 2 good games in a row, he'd be much higher owned than he's showing today. And I think he should definitely be 11 above 11K with Chet out. Still took 25 shots last game. Didn't really get the peripherals, but I think SGA is just such an awesome play in the.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep getting to SGA pretty aggressively, without question. Um, I don't know if that's Chuck who went offline or me. Just a second. So, anyone in the chat, if you can hear me, let me know.
Dude, I have
Oh,
never done that before. I closed out of the browser window because I got so fired up talking about SGA.
yeah, I
Um,
was wondering if it was me. I would have kept talking, but I'm like, it used to always be my internet. I did just upgrade though. So sorry guys for not talking through that quick blank space, but we're back now. We should be good to go.
dude, I just straight up closed it. I don't know how I did that.
So
Um,
excited to play Shay.
yeah, so I see a couple questions about Phoenix. What do you think about Booker and Royce O'Neal?
I absolutely love Booker on both sites. I mean, he's overpriced on DK. Period. It's a fact. But I mean, he's got a 60-point ceiling. I don't know how often that comes through, but I mean, I'm happy to get to him here at super low ownership. Again, no Beal, no Durant. He's really going to be running this team. Not the best matchup, but I don't know. I wouldn't argue with anyone getting to Booker. Then Royce did slide into the starting lineup. I mean, if Grayson Allen's back, I think he comes off the bench. I'm fine with him as like a last piece in, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't think you could really project him to get over 30 fantasy points, which is kind of what you're looking for at 5,600. So he's okay as a last piece in. Not something I'm getting too aggressively, but I do really like Booker as a tournament play.
Yeah, I'm gonna say even this 9,700 on DraftKings, he's gonna come in like 1% owned, and yeah, this is probably a little overpriced, but I'm pretty sure Devin Booker's done this in this spot before when he's overpriced and no one played him, put up
Mhm.
70.
Yeah,
Is that
I got something
exciting?
I want to bring up for the first time this year. Good old Ben Simmons tonight.
Yes, yes, dude.
Probably starting at center. I think regardless of whether Cat's in or out, they're going to need him on the floor. No Nick Claxton. He's getting healthy. He's not playing back to backs, but they're kind of been slowly giving him more minutes. I think you could play Simmons here on either side. I think he's point guard only on DK, which is kind of annoying. But you could play him at power forward or point guard on FanDuel. He's underpriced on both sites. Even if he only plays 26 to 28 minutes, I think he could get there. And this may be a game we finally see him get over 30, with it being the Cup, with it being the Knicks, et cetera, et cetera. So I really do like Ben. As far as other nets go, I'm not getting to them much. I will say Zaire's been tremendous, though. He's still too cheap for what he's been doing, even coming off the bench. And Finney Smith, yeah, his floor is nothing. He is a gross floor, but we've seen historically with Claxton now, we've seen him spike upside at times. So I will just say I really do like Ben Simmons tonight. And I never, ever say that, even as a Nets fan. And I'm fine getting to a little bit of Zaire off the bench, but that's a risky large field type play. But you could play Ben anywhere.
I'm glad you brought up Ben Simmons because he's one of the guys I bumped up an irresponsible amount today. Still didn't get as much as I want, but we haven't projected for 25. Like Nick said, like maybe he doesn't see 30, but 28 minutes. If you give him an extra 3 minutes, his value score is going to pop. Noah is still going to be in the toilet, but either way, Ben Simmons is a guy that I definitely want to be over the field on both sides today, going completely overlooked.
Yep.
Rui's out for sure. I need to try to open up Twitter. I lost all my news. You guys have any?
Much. Go ahead. No, I was just going to say, I think that was the one real piece of news we've gotten recently. Another value play I did want to bring up, if he starts again, Chris Dunn.
Yes. Thank you.
Really good point per minute player. I mean, I don't know. They slid him into the starting lineup because Terrence Mann's been terrible. If he continues to start, I like him here. Again, not a guy who's going to play more than 30 minutes, but a point per minute player. I mean, if he gets you 30 fantasy points, sub 5K, you got to be pretty happy with that. So Chris Dunn's another shout.
Happy you brought up Chris Dunn. I was disappointed to see his ownership this high. Wasn't sure if the field was going to pick up on it, but the price is good. I've been mentioning he's been taking Terrence Mann's minutes. We got the news that he was starting a minute before lock last time. I managed to get in whatever I could, but if you managed to get to Chris Dunn last time, you're probably looking pretty good. I don't think anyone did, though. 31 and 28 minutes, 2 games in a row. I think he looks awesome.
Agreed.
We have projected for 28. DK value isn't showing as much as we'd like. Remember, so now his minutes are going to come more playing next to James Harden than they were before, which maybe affects his rates a little bit, but the minutes jump should cancel that out.
Yeah, I think we'll start to see him climb. And again, Harden isn't the type of usage player he has been in seasons past, at least in terms of like taking shots. So I don't know. I think some of the data across the industry is kind of slow to adjust to what Harden is now compared to what he's been in seasons past.
If he shoots, Ben Simmons is okay. He doesn't have to shoot to get there. He's taking 5 shots a game, and I mean, he's putting up pretty good fantasy scores. Imagine the game he takes 7 shots or 8 shots.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing with Ben. I mean, you could get 7, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and like you're close to value. I mean, he had 12 assists last game against the Pelicans. Pretty good defensive team. Does get blocks and steals on occasion as well. So good play over on FanDuel. Again, you can never feel too great about him, but if there was ever a spot for it, I think it's here tonight.
And I closed out of all of my exposures, but let's take a look at the top of exposures and just make sure we hit on everyone before we move on to the dummy. I mean, we talked about everyone at the top of this list. Is there anyone that you want to touch on more?
Let's see. We already talked about Mather and Dunn.
I mean, Joe Bell.
I never play Joe Bell. That's just like a thing.
I have a few percent on DraftKings. That's it, though.
I'm surprised we're seeing Trey Murphy ahead of Brandon Boston. I do think Brandon Boston's a good run back. If you're getting to a ton of nuggets, you don't want to play Ingram, who's been kind of inconsistent. I mean, Brandon Boston's been great. I mean, he didn't shoot well against OKC. Prior to that, though, I mean, pushing 40 fantasy points every night with all these guys out for the Pelicans. If this game's competitive, you're loading up on nuggets. I think he's one of the better run backs. So I want to get to some Brandon Boston the more I think about it here.
I'm another side of you on that. I think Trey Murphy is the play from the Pelicans. I thought he was last time. It didn't work out. His price came down. And Brandon Boston, I feel like this is max price for him. So I don't know if I got.
Here's the thing. So like, Willie Green's been kind of slow ramping up the minutes for Murphy. Like last game, he was like, "We're gonna let him play over 20." He played 25. I don't know if we have any coach speak, but I don't know that we can project him for his regular minutes yet.
We have him for 28, which is 2 more than he played. So, maybe we can get an extra 2 minutes. He already exceeded the minutes cap, like you said. He was only supposed to play 20. He saw more than that. I don't know if he can get over 30, which would be ideal at 5,600. But either way, I think we want to take some shots on Trey Murphy. And I think I did boost Brandon Boston. I can't pull it up right now, but I think I did get a few percent of him too.
Nice. I got one more value for you before I forget. Patrick Williams on the Bulls, 4,400, too cheap. Not a good matchup against the Cavs, sure. But look what he's been doing lately. I don't know if he can keep it up, but 3 straight games over 30 fantasy points at his price. I mean, that's tough to come by. So I'm fine getting to some Patrick Williams, power forward. I mean, one of the thinner positions. Makes some sense to maybe mix him in as a value play.
I like that. Yeah, and models identifying him as a strong value on DraftKings anyway. And then the rest of the Bulls, we didn't really talk about him. It's a tough matchup against Cleveland. Pretty sure they already rocked Cleveland this season, but I'm getting a few percent of all of them. I'm not like trying to get a bunch, but I'm not actively fading them either.
Yeah, the Giddy, Levine, White are all fine, but it's just like night to night. Which one do you really want to get to? If Mobley's in, I don't really like the matchup much for Vooch against that front court. Other centers I'd rather play than him.
And then Donovan Mitchell at 8,200 is not a correct price on DraftKings coming off the triple double where he barely scored any points. I thought that was, dude, he came in 5%, put up 60. I thought that was going to be tournament winning, and it didn't matter because people scored
Yeah,
530 that night.
that
But
was that night. Yeah.
the ownership
Um,
is good. I like Donovan a lot tonight.
Yeah, I love him, man. It took him a couple weeks to get going, but he's starting to emerge as really the alpha in this offense. So, yeah, until he's closer to 9K, I think you just keep playing Mitchell.
Let's take a quick look at Houston. Is Eason too much on FanDuel? 6,200, probably, yeah, with FEV back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you get the points for blocks and steals. He's playing more minutes than Jabari Smith, who's been starting, but at the same time, I mean, they're getting Van Fleet back. Like you said, I don't know. I like the DK price at 5K, but 62 on FanDuel, knowing he probably doesn't play 30 minutes, I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, the 5K price on DK feels fine at 8%. And then Amon Thompson, even though Fred VanVleet's back, we've seen him destroy in 25 minutes off the bench. I think the industry's slightly under projecting the ceiling today.
Mhm.
So at 3% ownership, I'm taking shots on Amon at 56. And I think I was above 0% on FanDuel even at the 6,400. So I think that's a solid GPP play to mix in.
Yeah, he's been awesome. Really, really good, even off the bench.
Simmons or Dort, I think we're both pretty hard on the Simmons train today.
Yeah, I agree. I do think you go with Simmons. Similar plays in that they don't need a score to get there, but I just feel better about Ben with Claxton out.
And Jason, thank you for bringing him up because I meant to talk about this guy, Jared McCain. So Embiid and Paul
Mhm.
George are back. We saw McCain just have the best game any rookie's ever had in whole NBA history. Coming in for 2 and 1% ownership at 5,500, I still think he's worth more than 2% ownership with Embiid and Paul George back. He is the starting point guard. I mean, he's in the maxi role right now. His confidence is high. I think he's worth more than 2% even against Orlando.
Yeah, you can mix them in. And again, I mean, George and Embiid are back, but Maxi's still out, like you said. He's going to be running the point here. Um, Not really a priority against Orlando. This game does have the lowest total on the slate. I think 208, 209 points. But he's good, coming off an awesome game. And if he gets hot, who's to say he doesn't take up more usage? So I like McCain here. He's fine.
I kind of wanted to see where McCain's sat if I played with the sliders. So between 5 and 6K, he's like the fifth best value on DK. So it's not great, not terrible. Models also identifying Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green as a under owned value. This is on the this is not on the DraftKings slate, right?
I don't think
Yep.
so. Yeah, it's got to be a late game against Memphis.
Okay. So on the DK main, Jared McCain is the second best value between 5 and 6K after Christian Brown. So
Yeah.
consider.
Melton's out for the Warriors, right? I think that's
Yeah.
why some of these guys are starting to pop.
So
Wiggins is,
disappointing.
yeah, I mean, he's been good. But yeah, Wiggins has spiked some upside. Green, inconsistent, but probably too cheap for what he's capable of, too. And always comfortable mixing in Steph as an upside guard. I mean, he's been flashing that ceiling more this season.
So last thing I'll say about this, Ben Simmons minutes scare you. You're not doing it. He's priced for the minutes he's playing. Like if he was
Yeah.
6K, it'd be a different discussion. But like he's priced to play 22 to 27 minutes, and it seems like the 22 is a season low. So we should be expecting around 24. He's a very high fantasy point per minute guy, and I don't know. I'm not saying like you have to play him. I just don't think you should avoid him because you're scared of the minutes when the minutes are priced in.
Yep.
First player in the dummy today. Should we just start with the Nuggets?
Yeah, let's start with the Nuggets.
I said I wanted to fade Jamal, but it would be irresponsible not to put him in here, I think. So you can
Yeah, I
pivot
think
out if you
Murray,
guys don't like
Watson,
him.
Westbrook is kind of the starting point.
Murray, Watson, Westbrook. Okay. Murray, Watson over MPJ. We'll see what we can do with the salary, I guess. I want to throw Tyler Harrow in here. Didn't
Yeah,
listen
let's
to you
get
last
Hero
time.
and Mathurin in that game.
Nice work. Yep. Mathurin. I mean, we still have 6,300. What do we want to do at center? We want to see if we can get. I mean, Jalen Williams, I think, is the clear model play. Him
Yeah, I
or
mean, we could probably
Ben.
go Williams and then use Ben in one of those spots as a value play and see where we're at.
Ben Simmons, 4,800.
And I never like playing Ben, but today it just feels right at this price.
6K at forward. I don't love any of these guys. I mean, you could play Amon, maybe use the 400 to upgrade someone else. Or if we fade Jamal Murray, we can play MPJ, and that leaves us 6,600 for guard. I mean, Dice
I
Daniels
like
is fine.
Daniels.
You said you're into Jaden Ivey?
No, I want to play Beasley. I'm hoping Ivy's
Oh,
out.
that's right. Okay.
But Daniels is good, and I like Brandon Boston. I know he's a little overpriced, but
Were there any like top value plays? We're gonna get out of here in a second, guys.
oh yeah, I'm on Discord duty, so I got to get my sheet ready here.
Yeah, I mean, you can mix in these other value guys, but I mean, model's really identifying Jalen. It likes Jamal. I don't, so that's like a beyond the model thought. But yep, Nick will be in Discord in a minute. So you have any more questions, you can ask him. Instructions to join that are in description below. Hit the like, give us a subscribe on your way out. We appreciate you guys being here. Anything else you want to mention on here, Nick?
Nope. Just let's crush tonight. Let's see those screenshots.
All right, let's see you guys. Thanks for tuning in.